Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your direct purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing a model that was launched in 2012 and built through 2014. Back in a period when FP Journe built far more dress than sports watches, the line Sport Octa Sport in aluminum was a scarcity. It remains so, and now discontinued with the highly desirable integrated aluminum bracelet. This is an exceptional way to get into collectible FP Journe. Now, the timepiece was designed as one of FP Journe's first two sports models, along with the Journe Sport, and has a different case shape and integration about its band than the Souverain models. Taking a quick look at the case profile, you can see it's 42 millimeters in diameter, which was then one of the largest cases available, but it's relatively thin at 11 millimeters thick, and from lug to lug across the case, it is 48.7 millimeters. Now, the watch is extraordinarily light. It has a mass of under 60 grams, so in the hand or on the wrist, it feels feathery. It is significantly and noticeably lighter than the subsequent and more numerous titanium models. While the difference is not large, it is apparent. This is extraordinary, and you should know that they discontinued the aluminum cases and bracelets because of the challenge of fabricating and finishing them consistently. So that is to the benefit of the collector who owns these pieces today because they are exclusive. It's not too broad across the wrist, nor is it too tall to fit underneath the cuff. And you can see from overhead, the bracelet is what flares out at the edge of my wrist. The lugs never come close to the edge of my wrist. So you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference in spite of being a 42. The rubber bumpers offer two advantages to my eye. First, there's the fact that they give you a tonal contrast with the silvery sheen of the aluminum. Second, they also prevent the finish from getting disfigured. And if you know what happens to watches on bracelets, you often see that the bracelet and the clasp under the wrist are subject to considerable desk diving disfigurement. Well, there is none of that here, as all of the finish looks as good as the day it left Geneva, and that is in large part thanks to the rubber bumpers that run all the way around the case as well as the bracelet and clasp. Internally, you have a double folding clasp with spring-loaded pin snaps, and these keep the clasp resolutely shut in the course of vigorous activity, as it is a sports watch. The case has a subtle but present bevel that runs circumferentially around the lug hoods as well as the mid case, and you can see there are bumpers on both sides of the case. The crown is also sheathed in rubber, and then there is a very slight gasket between the bezel and the sapphire, and that acts as a shield for the bezel from scratches. The dial. It's a lovely gray nickel anthracite matte finish with a railroad track outboard, those characteristic Journe biomorphic tapered hands, here swollen a little bit to contain luminova within, and black polished on their top. There's a bezel in matte finish that matches the case that surrounds the smoked sapphire used for the small seconds down at 6 o'clock, and the now expected FP Journe dial side bolts in black polish are present at the corners of the sub-seconds register. A few accents in, of course, lacquered red, the numerals, the seconds hand, the Octa S logo, the printing on the two flush fit silver date discs, and the AM/PM indicator, which serves as a day-night, with red being the night period. So this is, for example, 9 p.m. There's a power reserve indicator, and while the watch has a 120-hour or 5-day chronometric that is accurate power reserve, at a reduced accuracy, it will continue to run out to 160 hours, which is the true absolute power reserve. Now, the timepiece also includes loomed numerals. So this is a fully luminescent sports watch, but the numerals are not printed features. They are full blocks of solid luminova. So they have 3 dimensions. They have height above the dial, and they create a wonderful 3-dimensional lume aesthetic when the watch is glowing in the dark. And when you turn the watch over, you realize that the line sport refinements continue on the reverse side. So this watch includes the caliber 1300, but unlike the standard early versions, which were made of brass, or the contemporary versions of the 1300, which are made of gold, this one is made of aluminum, and it has a handsome nickel anthracite coating to give it that same dull gray coloration as the dial and the case. So the movement itself is made of aluminum, which is tougher to finish than gold or brass. Taking a look at the rotor, it too is a custom piece, a little bit more techno-industrial than the guilloche piece on a standard 1300. You still have that 160-hour power reserve, chronometer-style 5-position adjustment. All of this is 30 meters fierce water resistant, and it's highly shock tolerant thanks to a free-sprung balance architecture. The balance is also physically large with a lot of mass that works to its advantage when playing for accuracy, and it beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. There is a quick set for the date. There is not a hacking seconds system. That's pretty much the only shortcoming I can mention with this watch, as overall it's collectible, it's rare, it's technically sophisticated, it's aesthetically attractive, and it is part of a growing body of watches that are considered to be modern-day collectible Journe timepieces. Some are older, some are newer, but in all cases, collectible Journe generally means rare Journe, and that's exactly what this discontinued model is. Reach out to tmosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And we're back with the Octa Sport with those solid blocks of Luminova.